Okay, yeah, the name's Richard Morgan, and I want to know about Morgan's Alley and how its concept started. Well, I was in the wholesale business here for years and years, and I thought maybe they ought to try to do something else. So when my father owned a building down on Main Street, and it was 3rd and Main, a small building on the end, and it turned out that the Goodwill Industries was wanting to move out of there, and they were in the next building, which was Vollmer Scott. And well, they wanted to sell the building, and so anyway, we got together with Goodwill Industries and bought the building. So that at that time, then I'd been several trips to Portland in the old town, and we'd been in California at Ghirardelli Square. And we over at Pioneer Square over in Seattle, and I thought, well, why couldn't we do something like that in Lewiston? And so that's where the kind of thing kind of started. Well, being that we made an offer on the building, the Goodwill building, and they accepted it. Well, here we were, we had something, and we had to do something. Well, I can say with that reference work that we'd done, I thought maybe we could build a Morgan's Alley. That, of course, there was a Morgan's Alley in Portland, and it's still there. And so we went over to Portland to look at Morgan's Alley and kind of got a concept from there. So anyway, I did some more checking around at Ghirardelli Square, and we noticed a lot about the arches, a lot of arches in those older buildings. So that's when the concept came to change the fronts and the back of all the buildings to arches and a series of tunnels. And that way they had to figure out how to get up the upper levels. And so at that time then, we got started kind of. I thought, well, if we're going to go any farther, we should get the Goldstone building too, which houses Bojack's Lewiston. And I knew that the American Legion owned it because my father, Bill Morgan, had
1976.
But my father had sold the Goldstone building to the American Legion back when it was made into the American Legion Club. They moved up into 8th Avenue, and so they were just renting that bottom floor only, Bojack's and a second-hand store. Nothing was being done with the upstairs or the basement as far as that concerned. There was no boiler pit at that time. And so I decided I'd make an offer to the American Legion and buy it too, and then I could take the whole concept, make Morgan's Alley what it is today. And so they decided to sell to me, and they did. And so that's when we proceeded to do the remodeling at that time.
And at that time you actually bought the two buildings, the one in between the Vollmer Scott and the Goldstone building also, right?
Well, that came with the American Legion deal.
Right.
Those two buildings. And so there we owned the city block. And the one thing I liked about it, and still is a good fact, is that people notice, is that it's very rare where you've got a building, one block in the downtown district, that has front doors on both streets, High Street or Main Street. And so that was one of the way I figured it might be successful. But over the years, we've had people come and go, one thing or another, but it's really successful. And of course, I had sold the building, and it's been sold a couple of times since. But now the ladies that own it, they're doing an excellent job, and I expect to see it as another really nice place in downtown Lewiston.
Now tell me about any of the incidences that you've heard in the time since and I want to hear about when your family owned it and you were younger and you used to have to take groceries upstairs.
Well, when the West building became Lewiston Table Supply, it was Morgan's Grocery originally, then it was a grocery store, and it became Lewiston Table Supply. My mother ran it kindly, and she had a manager, Bob Johnson, who eventually bought it from them. But during the days when my mother was there and it was still Lewiston Table Supply, we used to get orders from the places around that area, as well as delivery up on the Marble Hill. But the couple of hotels were above there, like the Savoy, and that's where the ladies of the night worked, lived, and they would call down and order their groceries from the store, and then my mother would give them to me and tell me that I should take them up there. Well, when I get up to the top of the steps, every time a lady, usually an older lady, a madam lady, would be there, and she'd give me money and send me back down the stairs. And I never could figure out how come she knew I was there each time. And so I finally noticed that there was a wire on the 6th step, the hole's still there. And you stepped on that wire and rang the buzzer. And when she heard the buzzer, she would come to the door, whether it was groceries or whatever else it might come. Anyway, that's why she came. I learned that if I'd skip that step, I'd get through the doors. First door to the left was the kitchen. I put the groceries in the kitchen. At that time of day, some of the ladies were having coffee and stuff there, and they'd give me a tip, 50 cents or something for bringing groceries. So I thought that's a lot better than eating that madam. So I used to skip the step every time I did the groceries.
Okay, did you ever hear any stories about strange incidents that ever happened in Morgan's Alley?
Well, I naturally heard a lot about the possible ghost. She kind of became the lady in blue, and of course there's been other people that I've never seen her in the blue, but some of the people down in the pub area thought they saw her in the staircase that way, and so the lady in blue kind of stuck, and maybe she's one of those ladies of the night still looking for a place. I don't know.
Any other incidents that you can remember?
No, not in the form of a ghost or anything.
Okay. Well, Mr. Morgan, thank you very much. I appreciate it. And
I'm just going to wander around here and see anything.
love the creaky old stairs.